Afternoon.
Takeaways from day one.
A lot of learning, a lot of learning. Obviously, the guys getting acclimated, getting their playbooks, and getting their feet wet, but they showed up in shape for the first day, so we'll just push forward for tomorrow.
Your impressions of Cade Warner?
Coachable, very coachable, fundamentally sound, looks like an individual drills, and one day it's hard to get a gauge on it, so we'll see how it progresses from there.
What made him an attractive option for you guys to bring in as an undrafted free agent?
Solid football player. He's a solid football player. He can catch the ball. He can play special teams. He can do a lot of things that we need, and we're always looking for special teams players.
How about the undrafted guys that signed afterwards? Are there some in particular you think are in good position to be contending for even spots on the 53 here?
Well, they got to prove that, obviously. There's some we liked, and we hope that they can turn into what they were in college, and we have a few of those, but we're not anointing anybody on the first day of practice.
Todd, what did you like about the linebacker that you drafted, Sabasi Dennis, and then also Jeremy Banks, an undrafted free agent, inside linebacker?
Sabasi played a lot of what we play here. He played in college. He's very bright. He can play multiple spots. He can cover, he can blitz, he can scrape, he can do a lot of the things, and he's a very heady football player. You don't usually get that later on in the draft, so I felt good about that when we took him. Obviously, Banks was a heck of a player at Tennessee. They had a good defense, and he just knows where the ball is, and on tape he found the ball, and hopefully here he can do the same thing.
How the three quarterbacks here at minicamp are all tryout guys. How important is it to have a fourth guy on the roster, and then what did you like from what you saw this first day of those three?
Again, it's a lot of learning. They're learning the offense, nevertheless seeing a different defense. And some of these guys in college don't even get playbooks. They just post up there and they give them cards on the sideline. So it's a lot of teaching and a lot of learning. But these guys are competitive. They show good fight. You got to see how they progress from learning from their mistakes as practice goes forwards. But we really like them. It's semi-important having a fourth guy on the roster. We'll see. We'll see how many are worthy of that position or not having that position.
Everyone handled the heat well today?
Yeah, it was actually a decent breeze. First day out, a lot of these guys are not used to this type of heat, so we took a little more water breaks than normal, but they handled it pretty good.
You said some of the players that were on the practice squad last year, like Charles Snowden and Dylan Cook. How important is it maybe to get a little bit extra work for those guys here as they get ready for OTAs and come off the practice squad last year?
I think it's important because it's their first time really learning the system. We got them halfway through the year last year, some of them later than that. And for them to come out and just actually go through the reps are very important for them to keep up once we start OTAs and everything so they don't be behind.
Coach Davi was one of these guys came out of high school had no offers, right? 200-pound kid versus Wayne. Where do you make of his story? Where do you see him helping you early on? Is it as an edge rusher? Is he a pressure guy?
Well, he grew into his weight, obviously his size. He grew up to about 264, and he can still run. We see him as an outside linebacker in base. He can help us in sub. He can also go inside some. So as he gets acclimated to the system, it's just a matter of what other tools does he have to see if we can move him around, leave him in one spot, or add anything. But he has heavy hands. He's a load to handle, and he can run, so that gives us some hope.
Between his story, working at an airport, as Rick kind of alluded to, and then Cody, growing up on a farm, it seems like you kind of have an affinity for guys that are blue collar, I guess. Is that kind of, the mold you want to craft your team in?
I don't see any billionaires signing up to play this game, Jenna. Jesus. Jenna, everybody works, Jenna. It's a matter. We all got a story. I can sit here and probably give you can say that to the entire league. Everybody's not coming here Richie Rich type of deal. We all don't hit the lotto. We work hard. We create opportunities. They've created opportunities for themselves to get better, and that's kind of what you go off of. You feel for the stories. You feel for all their stories. And I don't know if there's a person in this building that doesn't have a story, but, again, we're not billionaires here. We come here to work and earn our pay.
Coach, there's a lot of guys in this year's draft class, and some of them as well, like Josh Hayes and others, that played a lot of college football because of COVID, because of the transfer rules, what have you. So when you're getting a guy that's played 60 games or is 24 years old, what's the dynamic there in terms of kind of understanding a mature guy? Like, what do you like about having somebody at that stage.
We like the maturity part because they've played a lot of games. It used to be like that back in the day, about maybe 10 years ago we're talking about. And now they come out early, so you have to kind of teach them what they know in college and then try to advance from there. But guys that have played 40, 50, 60 games in college and have a good understanding of how to play the game, they learn it faster. So, that's a big advantage.
Coach, a couple turnovers on the defensive side today. How much do you put in stock in that when you're, looking back at the practice and everything like that? Because obviously the offense is coming, they're trying to learn a whole new system. It's a little bit easier to play defense when you're just going back out there and doing your natural instincts, just dropping back in coverage and such.
Well, those guys are new too, so they learn the system as well. But, the defensive guys are learning the defense, the offensive guys are learning the offense, nevertheless going up against each other. You put stock in turnovers all the time. It's always good to see them from one hand, but you never want to have them on the other side. But it's the first day. I don't put too much stock in it. Everybody's learning, trying to do the right thing, trying to do what the coaches tell you. And once they settle in and understand the entire system, I think then you start counting them that way.
You're still trying to get a feel for your guys' strengths, weaknesses, all those types of things. And I know this was the first day, but with Elijah, what are some of the things that you kind of want to see him focus on early on in this process?
No, we just want him to play defensive tackle. I mean, that's what we got him for. He's not a stunner. He's not a this guy or that guy. He can actually play football. He can play the position without stunting him. And as we get to know him and get a feel for everything and what he's good at, not good at, left side, right side, which hand down, and those type of things, based on the pieces around him, we'll try and use them accordingly. But right now, he's just focusing on learning the position. We're not in the game planning or schematics right now. You have to get the basics down, and he's doing that very well. He's a very bright guy.
I would you say in terms of technique and fundamentals, basics, where is he at in that regard?
Again, it's early. You're out of pads, and obviously they haven't played college ball in a while, so other than drills from working out, they're going to be behind a little bit once they go against an offensive team the first day.
Ted, it's really early, but, Dave Canales is a big hire for you. Proven offensive coordinator, but by all accounts, a lot of energy. He's got a bit of buzz in the building. What have you seen from him in meetings, on the field, that you like so far from the new offensive coordinator?
Very efficient, very detailed, orientated, includes everybody, all inclusive. Everybody has a role. He has a vision for everything he does, from individual period drills to team drills to how he wants it and how he sees it. But he's not too smart not to take advice from his coaches or his players, and I think he'll fit in well here.
Coach, the schedule came out last night. We were playing the first week. The bye is pretty early. There's a stretch of 6 games on the road and 8. What is it you pay attention to when you see that schedule?
The first thing I look for is where the bye week is, and the second thing is how many cold games we got in December. So obviously we got Green Bay in December. You prepare for that one. Then you kind of see the turnaround from the Sunday to the Thursday game to see what you got to prepare for early, and you look at those 3 things. That's about it.
Coach, look at the roster on defense, and there's pretty much starters and guys in place in every position. The one big question mark is nickel. Is that a position that you guys are going to fill in-house, you think, or is there still options out there that might be available that you'd like to bring in for that spot?
Well, I didn't know starters were in place at every position, first of all, but
I'm
I'd never signed off on that one. But let me see your list, and we'll compare and see. But the nickel spot is open at quite a few spots. That's going to be a battle. So we have ideas and things we have in mind that we want to see at that position, and we think we have some guys that can fill that spot. So we'll see as OTAs go on and training camp go on, if we need one or if we're satisfied with what we have.
Todd, you're in the voluntary part of off-season workouts right now, but overall, just in terms of the participation levels, are you happy with the number of guys you have here taking part in things?
I think it's been great. I think it's been outstanding outstanding people coming in this building, and everybody's, for the most part, pretty much here. There's some are in and out, but at a certain given day, you can have up to about 93, 94% of the guys here, which has been very good. So, you got to learn a new offense, obviously. Obviously, it's voluntary, but for those guys to come in, it's been great.
Has there been any change in your conversations with Devin White that it seems like he's accepting, okay, I'm not going to be traded, or if you hear do you have any understanding of what he'll do in the offseason yet?
No more conversation, but the off season's all voluntary, so it's not really a big deal right now.
Have you had any additional additional conversations with him since that all came out?
I have not, but coaches have, and I understand where we are at this point.
Coaches in general, what are you and the coaching staff looking for from these rookies over these next couple of days?
Again, getting acclimated to the system, learning the playbook, and getting caught up to speed so when we have the vets come in, they're not far behind. You know, our whole job for them between now and the time we go on vacation in June is to get caught up so they can have even footing when training camp comes. So, and that's going to be a day-by-day process. It's not going to happen overnight because there's a lot of things to put in. You know, offensively will be fine because everybody's learning something new at the same time. Some of the defensive guys that have been here kind of know things better, so the other guys have to catch up more. But offensively, I think everybody's got to be on the same page because it is new for everyone.
What are some of your early impressions of Cody?
Though I know he's an athlete, you know, he played a lot of positions when he was growing up. Very smart. He's a gritty guy. Hadn't been down in Florida before, so this is new for him. But I like the attitude and I like the football instincts of him.
Coach, the team signed a pair of safeties. Obviously, that's your bread and butter position. Christian Izzian and Kayvon Merriweather. Can you just speak on what those guys bring to the table?
Well, Christian reminds me of Winfield a little bit in the way he plays. You know, he's not the same guy, but obviously he has a burst and he's very physical down there. Merriweather was a very good tackler in college. He's built up pretty good. You know, you can mistake him for a linebacker if you're not careful, but you look for those guys to learn the system and get on even footing and then kind of see where they are. But you kind of like the guys you have coming in, especially if you got them as free agencies. Those two guys could have been drafted.
Todd, as you look at year two for you as a head coach, and you made some changes to your coaching staff, and you got the job last year, late in the process, almost April. What have you made different this year? What kind of changes, even subtle things, whether it be schedule-wise, philosophy-wise, from last year based upon what you got out of last season?
First, defensively, we've tweaked some things that we were different from last year. We've been pretty much bigger up front and in the middle. We still got some size in there, but we got more quickness now. You're playing more college quarterbacks and college people every week, and we had to get faster up front, not necessarily 4-4 faster, but faster at certain positions. We thought we did that. Schedule will be tweaked and has been tweaked, you know, going into the season that I talked to the coaches about. Not trying to get into that right now, but we've tweaked a lot of things. Offensively, the obvious changes, obviously, so I think it was important to find somebody that was complementary, hopefully, to the defense, and we can play complementary football. You know, it's exciting at the same time having everybody come in here, you know, and it's new energy in the building, and I like where we are.
Before it was, you had two big bodies on the inside, right? And now you, like you mentioned, you have Vita and you have Kalijah, where he's gotten more quick. Is the idea to be like that for, you know, every down, or would you still want, you know, at times to have that big body force paired with Vita Vea up front?
Well, there's going to be time for all that, depending on the game plan and who we're playing and how they kind of want to attack us. So that'll be kind of self-explanatory and take care of itself. But we have the ability to morph into quite a few things up there, and game plan-wise, I'm sure we will.
Any update on Sean Tucker, when he might be able to be cleared?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yep.
You're not a billionaire. You're not a